But like when you make edgy, bold decisions like you did in this movie, how worried are you that you might also piss off people that are?
Can I just say though, a lot of times I would say to Ryan, we got to think about the fans. And he said, no, we got to think about the story and we got to think about our movie, which
Well, having grown up as a Star Wars fan for myself for my entire life and having been on the other side.
It's hard to describe just how bad this movie was. It's hard to explain how one man, with one film, could destroy an entire franchise, ruin its future, and disrespect its past. I will try to summarize just some of the many reasons this movie was a horrifying disaster for Star Wars fans, and overall a crime against humanity, because this is a movie that encourages you not to think, it only wants you to feel. Look at the CGI and the bright lights, interpret the themes, and ignore the fact that none of it makes any sense. The Last Jedi ignored all the plot connections, all the character development of the original trilogy. It even blatantly ignores setups from The Force Awakens, the first movie in its own trilogy. This movie was practically a Star Wars parody, forcing cringy, brain-dead humor into every serious scene, completely destroying the tone of the movie. Stupid, pointless subplots that went absolutely nowhere. So many plot holes that I can't believe this thing was even released to the public. All that would have been fine if it wasn't for the worst case of character assassination in history. There are many movies and franchises I'm way more passionate about, but very few characters more iconic and impactful to me than Luke Skywalker. And to watch the actor who plays him creatively tortured and disrespected again and again is just too much for me. Star Wars is not about spaceships and aliens, it's a space soap opera. It's a family drama wrapped in a sci-fi adventure, and that's why fans are so passionate about it. And that's what people don't seem to understand when they criticize those who voice their opinion on this movie. I don't care about robots and Death Stars, but I waited 20 years to see Luke Skywalker's story continue. And Rian Johnson shit in his mouth, and Disney forced him to chew. But he didn't stop there. He ruined every character J.J. Abrams created in The Force Awakens, and every aspect of the Star Wars universe that George Lucas created. This sick, twisted little man somehow got the green light to write the most important sequel of all time, even though he's never made a good movie in his entire career. Yet they let him do whatever the fuck he wanted in the middle of a trilogy. He did not care about the story. He did not care about the fans. He didn't give a fuck about the franchise he was blessed to continue, because this was his chance to make his masterpiece. And nothing was going to stop him. Not logic, not gravity, not even Mark fucking Hamill, the godfather of Star Wars, telling him to his face that he's a fucking idiot.
I told Brian this, it's no surprise. I said, I just fundamentally disagree with your concept of this character and how you use him.
Your vision and Ryan's vision, did it coincide with the way that Luke ends up in this film that you thought it would all these years later?
No.
No, not at all.
In the original Star Wars trilogy, we saw Luke, a young farm boy thrust out of a doll life into a war between the Rebel Alliance and the Empire, the evil dictatorship that rules the galaxy. We watch him learn how to use the power of the Force and receive training specifically catered to his weaknesses of impatience and recklessness. And even with these lessons, he rushes to confront Vader without completing his training after sensing his friends were in danger. This is who Luke is as a person, and he would never abandon them. Armed with his father's lightsaber, he challenged Vader, showing massive improvement, but is ultimately beaten down and toyed with, and barely escapes with his life. And finally, in Return of the Jedi, we see him make his grand entrance as a full-fledged Jedi Knight and take down Jabba's entire crew with ease to rescue Han and Leia. Tremendous skill with the lightsaber, full control of his powers, and the experience to control his emotions. The rematch between him and Vader, in my opinion, to this day is one of the darkest and most iconic fight scenes of all time. Does it have the complex choreography and special effects of modern fight scenes? No. But the ambiance and the feeling they managed to capture in this scene is amazing. And to see him go from a clueless farmer to one of the most powerful characters in the movie was incredible. And it was the most memorable character arc of my childhood. And the only reason that I and millions of others had any interest in this new Star Wars was because Luke was in it. After years of anticipation, the first line of the title crawl in the new trilogy was surprisingly, "Luke Skywalker has vanished." We find out everything he accomplished in the original trilogy has been reset, and the same war he already fought and won 30 years ago is happening again. But instead of the rebels and the Empire, it's the Resistance and the First Order. They don't explain where they came from, they don't explain if it's connected or why Luke's missing, we get nothing at all. So anyone who understands the movies and is here to see the story continue is already insulted. So instead of seeing Luke, we now have Rey as the new protagonist, the most overpowered, terribly written character I've ever seen in my entire life. We are forced to watch this bitch speedrun Luke's entire character arc, copying everything from the original trilogy they can think of. She's supposed to be just some random scavenger, yet she's a master martial artist, can use the lightsaber with no training, can fix and fly any ship, and she even teaches Han Solo how to fix the ship he's been flying for decades. How anyone can appreciate a character that never earns anything is beyond me, and honestly the only thing saving her is the mystery of her parents, since that is now the only thing left to explain why the Scavenger is suddenly the strongest character in the entire series. Is she a Skywalker? Maybe a Kenobi? Or maybe even the granddaughter of Emperor Palpatine, who in this movie is replaced by Snoke, a mystery shadow man controlling the First Order. And instead of Lando, we now have Finn, a member of the First Order who has broken free of their control and is looking to make his own destiny. Finally, a character that can bring some humanity to the Stormtroopers, give us some insight into what life is like for them. But instead, they turn him into a stumbling idiot here just for comic relief. This guy is supposed to be a 20-year trained killer, scarred from his past, but we learn nothing about him or the First Order, and proceed to watch him spend the rest of the movie sniffing Rey's ass. Pointless. And instead of Darth Vader, we now have Darth fucking Fanboy, formerly known as Kylo Ren. I took one look at this guy and said, get the fuck out of my movie, how dare you, Disney. But when it's revealed that he is Han and Leia's son, grandson to Darth Vader, and a former student of Luke, he had my full attention since there's nothing else to enjoy in this stupid movie. And what do they do with him? Take off his mask and reveal that he's just a whiny, conflicted child that has no idea what he's doing, and then proceeds to get bullied and overpowered by Rey, even though he's been training his entire life and she thought the Force was a myth like 4 hours ago. What the fuck is this shit? Kylo kills his father, and Rey, who after a few lines of dialogue now suddenly looks at him as a father figure and vows revenge. We see Leia walk right past Chewie to hug Rey and console her on Han's death, even though she doesn't even know her, nor that they had any relationship, and she decides to send a total stranger on a mission to find Luke. Why? Why? Why the fuck is this happening? Why does everyone trust her? Why is she even doing this? Why is she so powerful? Who is she? At this point, I don't even care. I just want to see Luke. Get these people out of my fucking face, please. We see her go to a mysterious island and find Grandmaster fucking Luke chilling on a cliff while all this shit is going down. She goes to hand him his lightsaber, the one he lost with his hand against Vader, and fell into a bottomless pit, yet somehow Rey found it at a bar, and the movie ends without him saying a word. Bravo, Disney. Way to tease the entire world and trick us into watching your ridiculous new characters. As much as I hate The Force Awakens, it set up Rian Johnson with everything he needed to make the greatest Star Wars movie ever. Who is Snoke? Who are Rey's parents? How did she get the lightsaber? Who are the Knights of Ren? What's going to happen with Kylo? Why is Luke on this island? Is he going to train Rey? All of these questions fueled the fan base for 2 years as the countdown to The Last Jedi began. If only we knew what was coming.
Anything you want to tell the audience or the world about this one in comparison to the other ones?
It's the longest one. He has lines. So that's already a major difference from episode 7.
How was it being like back on set and just being back in the thick of it?
Well, I mean, the responsibilities of having to do more than rotate and remove a hood were enormous. Because, you know, after 2 years of anticipation, I better, you know, put up or shut up and do something interesting.
Yeah.
So you say, I only know one truth. It's time for the Jedi to end.
There's so much unsaid about where he's been and what he's done. And actors like to write their own backstories. You know, you want to figure out what you've done and where you've been. But I realized that wasn't really important to the story of Force Awakens. I still made it up myself. And, you know, I tried to show it to JJ, and he, you know, was accommodating, but basically patted me on the head, gave me a cookie, and made me go away. And there's a lot of mystery about him, even within the film. So you have to fill in your own backstory. I'm sure there'll be comic books and video games and novels that tell the story, but
I'm just going to break in here and make sure that everybody out there realizes he is so significantly important to this next film. You have no idea.
Well, that's good to hear.
I know that initially you weren't sure if this was the right way to go with your character, but the phenomenal response, I guess, tells you that people really enjoyed it.
Give the people what they want. Kill Luke.
How do you feel about the future of the franchise?
Luke throwing away the lightsaber like it's nothing? What?
For 2 years, you're like, holy fuck, what's gonna happen? What's he gonna do? What's he gonna say? Is he gonna be like, oh my god, you're my daughter? Oh my god, my lightsaber? Like, what's gonna happen?
You don't wait an entire movie to start it off with a joke.
jokes in this important and moment we have been waiting 2 years for. Yeah, no, he's just like, and if you go back to Force Awakens and you see the look on his face, that's not what he was going to do.
Like, to me, that felt like the director just going like this to fans because we had waited so long for that moment.
He just tosses it over his fucking shoulder. Bullshit.
Ryan, why the fuck did you decide to turn a heartfelt, emotional moment into a joke? Why would Luke do this? What is going on here? We see Luke run away to his hut only to have Chewie kick in the door with Rey. Luke doesn't give a damn about his friend who he hasn't seen in 30 years and a young girl who has his father's lightsaber. He literally tells them,
Go away!
Rey tells him that they need his help and they will explain on the Falcon. So Luke asks her, where's Han? And they cut to Kylo's face because who gives a fuck about Han, right? We are then introduced to Snoke. No more holograms, no grand entrance. He's just here, rocking a gold robe like fucking Liberace. Snoke tells Kylo he sucks. Kylo tries to fight him and gets punked off and then destroys his mask in another tantrum. So much for the tribute to Darth Vader. No explanation for why Snoke, who must have seen him in that mask for years, is suddenly insulting him. Why did Kylo leave Luke for this guy? What the fuck is going on? We cut back to Ryan's island where Rey is asking Luke to help the resistance and Luke pretty much tells her to fuck off and walks away to start his day. Maybe we'll get more insight into why he's here and what he's doing. Maybe we'll get some type of answers. Instead, Luke rushes to milk the breasts of some giant alien sea cow in front of Rey in one of the most disturbing scenes I've ever seen.
And then he milks a giant lactating sea moose.
Right. Whatever the fuck those are. I call them the fat fucks that Luke just like milks and drinks from, and it makes everyone feel really uncomfortable, and it's gross and stupid. And why? Why are they there?
Why, movie? Why? An old asshole who's drinking fucking titty milk and fishing with a fucking spear that might as well be shoving up his ass.
The galaxy is fucked. His sister and everything he fought for is in danger, and we have Luke fucking Skywalker on his knees jerking off an alien. Ryan, why the fuck did you think seeing Luke drink alien breast milk was more vital to the film than seeing his reaction to finding out his best friend was killed by his son, Luke's nephew and former apprentice? You turned Luke into a meme, Ryan. Why would you do this? After establishing him as an angry hermit, Luke approaches Rey to ask why she's here. He even cracks a joke. Is he testing her, or is this just another case of Ryan not understanding tone? And shockingly, Rey has no answers, because like I said before, I have no idea why this sent her, and neither does she. Luke tells her it's time for the Jedi to end, and he came here to die. And it was in this moment that I had to ask, who the fuck is this old man, and what have you done with Luke? What is happening? He has a single moment with R2 on the Falcon, and after seeing the footage of Leia that started everything, he is now inspired to train Rey. Finally, this is where the movie is going to get good. He tells Rey that he will train her, and after that she will understand why the Jedi needs to end. This makes no fucking sense at all, but it's better than him drinking milk.
He says, I'm going to offer you 3 lessons. The first lesson is the Force exists. The second lesson is feel this rock. And there is no third lesson, right?
He finally learned some of Yoda's lessons now that he's the teacher.
Well, you're assuming that I train Rey.
Exactly.
Sneaky.
Do I?
Sneaky.
I know I have to be really careful. People say, was it difficult to pick up and wield a lightsaber again? And I go, do I pick up?
We then see what could only be described as a forced Skype call as Rey and Kylo's minds are linked. Rey tells him he's going to pay as Kylo notices Luke. And of course, this serious moment needs to be ruined because Ryan wants little goblin nuns on the island. So fuck the tone of the scene. He's shoving them in anyway. Luke encourages her to tap into the Force and reach out and feel all the life forms on the islands. We then get introduced to the evil seaweed of doom, some random fucking hole in the ground that represents the dark side apparently. Just another stupid attempt to rip off the old films. She says it was calling to her, and Luke says he is terrified of Rey, so he flees to his hut in fear. Who is this fucking coward? What is the point of this? What the hell am I watching? But Rey is a strong independent woman who don't need no man, so she trains herself, while Luke creeps on her from the top of the hill like that asshole from 300. And after over an hour of bullshit, we finally get some answers.
I went to confront him, and he turned on me.
I waited over 20 years to see a 30-year history shoved into a tiny flashback. Well done, Ryan. Well fucking done. Rey and Kylo resume their Skype call and she asks him why he killed his father, only to cut to Kylo shirtless and Rey is powerless to resist his chiseled muscles. Once again, the tone. What the fuck is this movie, Ryan? Should I be laughing or should I be taking this seriously? I have no idea. We then get to see Kylo's version of the story.
He had sensed my power, as he senses yours, and he feared it.
So apparently Luke is a homicidal maniac living on an island, drinking milk, eating fish, and talking to porgs and frog nuns. This was Rian Johnson's vision for Star Wars. This was the only scenario that this man could come up with. Kylo tells Rey the truth about Luke, and Rey completely forgets about Han Solo, forgets about the Resistance, and is now in love with him. Ryan, what the fuck are you doing, man? Not only is this the most forced and retarded love story ever slapped together on screen, but it's another ripoff of the original trilogy. Kylo tried to kill her like 2 days before this. Why would him telling her that Luke tried to kill him mean anything to her? She doesn't even know either of them. She thought Luke was a myth. Why does she suddenly care? Why would you shove this into the movie, Ryan? It makes no fucking sense. Luke catches them having Skype sex and blows the roof off the hut, and tells Rey she's a dirty whore to get off his island. This is no place for sinners. So Rey hits him in the back of the head with a stick, dropping this old man to the ground. So Luke grabs a stick, and they have a stick fight on the side of a cliff to decide the fate of the galaxy. But of course, Rey's cheating ass pulls out the lightsaber and corners him. We see Luke on the ground in the rain, disgraced and defeated, as Rey threatens him with his own weapon and demands to know the truth about Kylo, someone she shouldn't give a fuck about.
I'd sensed it building in him. I'd seen it in moments during his training. And I was left with shame and with consequence.
She asks him for about the 100th time to help her, only to once again be denied because Luke is a pathetic coward. So she takes the ship and leaves.
Yoda then pops up, and it's probably the best scene in the film just for the novelty of the puppet alone, but they fuck it up anyway. Apparently Force Ghosts can now hit things and control lightning. That doesn't complicate anything, does it?
And the things that I said, like, well, wait a second. You know, I'm going to burn down the library. Don't try and stop me. You know, and then Yoda raises a finger, does it for me, and I go, but this is just sacred Jedi text. Hey, make up your mind.
That's Luke.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. I said, oh, okay, not only is he a broken man, he's certifiably insane. No, I can play that.
Where the fuck has Yoda been while Luke has been losing his shit on this island for the past 30 years? What the fuck is happening? Why is this movie so stupid? It may be hard to believe after everything I just said, but this island plot is arguably the best part of the movie. That's how bad this movie is. The other two subplots are literally Snoke's ship chasing the Resistance until they run out of gas, and Finn getting kidnapped by Rose, the stupidest, most pointless character since Jar Jar Binks, to go to some stupid casino planet so we learn about how slavery, animal cruelty, and capitalism is bad instead of telling a fucking Star Wars story.
The New Order has been destroying ships left and right, as ships literally run out of gas. We are watching people run out of gas in outer space. Is this a Star Wars movie?
Outer space? Yeah. Like this for an hour, my nigga.
I hate the fact that this movie basically is like one ship chasing another ship.
Dun 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 dun. That's the movie. Pew 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 pew.
They had their little spin-off adventure to go obtain a hacker. Just at a casino. I shit you not. Like, what the fuck?
To the casino planet where we learned about capitalism and veganism in Star Wars. You want to talk about that part?
Oh, these people got rich by selling weapons to the First Order. It's like we didn't need that. Nobody cares. I didn't care.
Princess Leia breathing in space. This movie! Are you serious?
Why did you think that Leia flying her ass back to the door was a good idea?
She woke up with no suit on and she just flew back in the ship and that was trash.
They were just like, yeah, this bitch just fucking flew to the ship, but no one asked her any questions. What the fuck? Like, what?
What? What? Why even bother? But then we go on. Leia's incapacitated and this other lady takes over.
So Poe wants to know, alright, what are we gonna do? But she's a strong, independent, purple-haired woman and she don't need no man. So she's not gonna tell.
Do you have a plan? She's like, oh, I have a plan. Could you tell us? No.
Why would you not tell anyone the plan? That doesn't make any sense.
Why not just tell Poe the plan?
Right. Purple Hair then hyperdrives into the Star Destroyer ship thing, and honestly, this is the most incredible shot in the film. Gorgeous, creative, and dumb as fuck. If this is something they could have been doing, then why the hell haven't they made ships specifically designed to hyperdrive into all of the large and destructive ships for battle? Hell, this might actually work on the fucking Death Stars.
You know who else is bullshit? Captain Phasma. I don't know why the fuck she came back. She was fucking worthless.
What does Captain Phasma do in this movie? Literally nothing. She shows up once, she's like, I'm gonna kill you, and then she doesn't, and then she dies.
Finn, the janitor, takes her out.
Phasma then literally loses her gun for no reason. There is no scene to show her dropping the gun or having the gun blown out of her hands, it's just gone. This piece of convoluted setup in terms of all these pieces on the board allows Phasma and Finn to have a melee weapon one-on-one. It is so poorly done and so contrived that it drives me fucking nuts. During this 1v1, Finn says,
Let's go, Cromdo.
Stop it. Stop that right now. You stop yourself from being a complete fucking joke film. What the fuck are you doing?
Okay, which brings us to that entire storyline. No, that entire storyline, no. Okay, that's an entire stupid storyline. Laura Dern's character could have just told Poe Dameron, guess what? We're gonna send a bunch of transports to this random planet. Could they not have just done that?
Leia explains that there is a hidden old rebel base planet that is highly defendable and the transport ships are all hidden too, so we can just move everyone there. And Purple Hair was doing the right thing the entire time. She simply failed to tell fucking anyone. She was doing the literal best thing ever for everyone, and she is sacrificing herself when they could have had any other pilot stay, and she just didn't mention any of this to the commander of their fucking fleet. A commander who is hot-headed and prone to solving problems himself. What the fuck, film? You are drunk. This realization literally makes Finn's point in the film completely redundant, as well as Poe's conflict.
The whole plot, it was like there was nothing. There was nothing, you know, like the whole time they were doing nothing for no reason. I don't know if that makes sense.
That's it. Nothing happened. Luke is destroyed and the movie isn't even fucking over yet. The only thing left to hope for now is Snoke, who is played by the same actor who plays King Kong, Caesar, Claw, Smeagol, and Gollum. So I know with such a talent on their hands, Snoke will get the screen time and the respect he deserves, and hopefully save this stupid movie. We see Rey engage the entire First Order with no plan or backup, since saving Kylo from the dark side is now her only goal. To her surprise, he takes her to see Snoke and rips off Return of the Jedi again. Rey is face to face with Snoke, and once again this scavenger has no fear of this deformed alien villain. She even tries to take him out, only to be flung across the room, clearly showing he's extremely powerful and not to be fucked with. Snoke then reveals that it was him that connected their minds, so she can clearly see what a pussy Kylo was. He then tells Kylo Ren to kill her to complete his training.
Leave the base at once and come to me with Kylo Ren. It is time to complete his training.
Too bad for anyone who thought that might actually mean something. Apparently killing Rey is now the key to whatever the fuck they're trying to do. Snoke starts talking shit and goes full cartoon villain on us.
I cannot be beaten. I see his mind. And now, foolish child, he ignites it and kills his true enemy. Oh no, no.
I sat there, stunned, completely speechless. The only thing left to redeem this movie. The one character that truly needed to be explained to understand a 30-year gap between the movies was killed like a Saturday morning cartoon villain. This was the breaking point for me. For them to waste the only new character left that was remotely interesting, and to kill him with the dumbest twist I've ever seen in a movie? How the fuck are you going to tell me that Kylo, who has done nothing but embarrass himself and disgrace the Skywalker name, is somehow able to kill Snoke when he couldn't beat Rey, who was just being toyed with by Snoke 5 seconds ago? Someone explain this to me. Snoke's guards kick into action, and we get a fight scene so shit, so lazily choreographed, it may as well be in a Power Rangers scene from the 90s. Rey even saves Kylo's life as he's getting strangled. How the fuck is this happening? After beating the guards, Rey insists that they hurry and they still have time to save the Resistance. And Kylo, who just killed his master to save her, changes his mind again and tells Rey to join her and they can rule the galaxy together. This is just ridiculously sad. None of this makes any sense. Kylo then casually tells her that her parents were nobody, just some junk traders, and she is nothing, but not to him. This is fucking amazing. The only piece of potential character development that Rey has now been ruined. She is now just this perfect goddess and we have no idea why, and the mystery of her parents that has been teased since the first fucking movie is now nothing. Thank you, Ryan. Truly amazing. Then they suddenly remember how to use the Force after not using it against the guards the entire fight, just in time to rip off Harry Potter and fight over the lightsaber and end up ripping it in half. And of course, when the dust is settled, Kylo is knocked the fuck out, and Rey is escaped. I'm assuming without a scratch. We cut to another rip-off planet to see the Resistance making a last stand in a cave that, according to C-3PO, has no exit. The First Order, seemingly completely unfazed by their ship being destroyed, immediately arrive ready to fuck shit up. No connecting scenes, nothing. They all just teleport there because whoever edited this movie was as useless as the man who wrote it. We see the surviving main characters all conveniently meet up and prepare to mount an absolutely pointless assault on the First Order. They immediately get shot down because their plan makes no sense, and right before Rose is killed, Rey shows up out of nowhere to get a triple kill. No explaining how she got back on the Falcon, she just shows up ready to save the day. Kylo sends all the fighters after Rey, who is literally having a blast while people are dying. Finn, who has done absolutely nothing in both movies, finally gets his moment. He sees no other way for them to win and decides to sacrifice himself, which leads to quite possibly one of the worst scenes in the history of film. This is a scene so stupid, so unbelievably contradictive and brain dead, I don't know how the actors didn't walk off the fucking set. Rose defies all known laws of gravity and catches up to Finn and crashes her ship into his, stopping him from sacrificing himself to destroy the cannon. They both survive, and the First Order, who literally sniped down all the other ships with ease, stop shooting. They are right outside on the ground, yet they don't shoot. The only theory I've heard that makes any sense is that they were just as confused as the audience and laughing too hard to aim.
Shrek then says you don't want to win by fighting what you hate, you have to do it by saving what you love. This makes no goddamn fucking sense, and it's why I hate this character. Her sister died destroying the symbol of hate, the Dreadnought, a fleet killer. She dies to potentially save thousands by targeting hate directly. By stopping Finn from destroying the cannon, you not only stole a great character moment from him, but you let the Empire blow up the only safe haven for the rebels and thus doomed them all to death, you fucking idiot. Defend those that you love. You stopped him from doing that while you saw the fucking wall blow up behind you. This couldn't be any more poetically fucking retarded. At this point, there's literally no escape from behind that wall. What you said about love makes no fucking sense at all. God fucking damn it. Shrek didn't even have the decency to fucking die.
How? How is this possible? How? How did you write this, Ryan? This is one of the stupidest things I've ever seen in my entire life, and you have tarnished this woman's career forever. I'm so sorry, Kelly. The entire Resistance is trapped in the cave, waiting for the approaching First Order. Leia sighs and slumps to her chair as it's confirmed that no one is answering their calls for backup. And out of nowhere, Luke just appears in the room. You'd think I'd be happy to see Luke finally interact with Leia, but of course, round-headed Ryan had to add a line that just ruined it all. Leia says, "I changed my hair." Obviously referring to her iconic hair buns that have been seen in everything from toys to cosplay over the last 30 years. The problem is, she only had that hairstyle in A New Hope, and Luke saw her change her hairstyle several times within the original trilogy, and I'm assuming many times in the 30 years after. This statement from Leia literally makes no sense, and it makes me wonder if Ryan even watched the movies before making a sequel to them. I understand, most people won't even notice this, and others won't care, but to me, this just shows me the lack of respect that Ryan has for this franchise, so let something like that slip. By this point in the movie, I was so disgusted I was barely paying attention, just waiting for this nightmare to end. And then, I heard a voice and got sucked right back in.
Master Luke.
Once the dust cleared away, he brushed the shit off his shoulder like that. Lame!
This thing from Luke. What the fuck is that?
Like, that's it? That's all you got? I'm like, oh.
Oh, this epic moment and all that stuff. Let's ruin all of the suspense, all of the momentum on this stupid fucking dad joke.
I'm trying so hard to enjoy something. Anything in this movie, Ryan, and you keep shoving jokes in my fucking face. We endured 2 hours of your bullshit already, and you couldn't take this scene seriously for the sake of the fans. The millions of fans that paid good money to see this man. You just had to destroy all the suspense. Kylo enters the battlefield to challenge Luke, and asks if he came back to save him. And Luke says fuck no, so Kylo tries to chop off his head, and old man Luke evades. Kylo attacks again, but is no match as Luke enters the fucking Matrix to avoid his strike. Luke says, I failed you, and Kylo says, I'm gonna kill everyone. That's it. 2 lines and 1 flashback. We could have had a whole trilogy explaining the dynamic of their relationship and get the chance to understand Kylo. He had so much potential as a character, but instead, I have no fucking idea what Kylo wants. No idea what he's thinking. I don't know how he feels about anything or anyone. I don't know if he's good or bad. I have no idea what this man is doing. He just wants to kill everyone again, even though 20 minutes ago he wanted nothing to do with any of it and wanted Rey to come with him.
You start at the beginning, you go, innocent guy, training to be Jedi, his master betrays him, and you're like, oh wow, that gets my sympathy. And then it's like, so he kills all the students. You're like, what? And then he becomes the new Vader. You're like, what? Why? And then you're like, and then he decides that he might be good, and you're like, okay, but then he kills his dad. You're like, okay then. And you're like, but then he decides he might be good. And you're like, what? I'm not following. And then he decides to kill his master of the evil guys. You're like, oh, so he's a good guy. Then he decides to kill all the good guys. You're like, oh, Jesus.
It goes back and forth.
Make
up your mind.
Kylo says,
The war is over, and when I kill you, I will have killed the last Jedi.
and Luke says,
And I will not be the last Jedi.
and we cut to Rey, who is effortlessly lifting thousands of pounds of boulders to save the Resistance. Again. She is displaying more power in this scene than Vader or Luke or even Yoda has ever shown, and she doesn't even appear to be trying hard. This bitch is casually saving the day with her godlike powers, even though they just fucking said there is no exit to this cave. They just set up a showdown scene between Luke and Kylo, and it was all just a lie. Another Rian Johnson trick to set up Rey as the hero. Kylo lunges to kill Luke, only to phase right through him. And we find out Luke isn't even fucking there. He's still on that goddamn island on that stupid rock with a belly full of breast milk projecting a force hologram to distract Kylo so Rey can save everyone. Luke vanishes into thin air and leaves Kylo there looking like the fucking fool he is. They teased Luke for 2 movies just to make sure we watch the 3rd one. They set up a dramatic moment and potential story arc for Luke and Rey. They teased a backstory and showdown with Luke and Kylo. All to have them do absolutely nothing with any of it, and have Luke just be a useless coward throughout the entire movie. You have destroyed this character to a level I didn't even know was possible. Finn is a joke and could have spent the entire movie in a coma and nothing would have changed, since absolutely nothing was accomplished from his storyline. Rose, plain and simply, should not have existed. There was no reason for her to be in this movie, and this actress will wear the stain of Tico for the rest of her days. Thank you, Ryan. Poe spent the entire film being disrespected and spoken down to when he is literally the only character whose actions made any sense. Rey is a god with no flaws or character traits or even connection to any characters in the series. No reason for her to even fucking be here. And they refuse to explain a goddamn thing about her or show her any form of development other than watching her train herself. Even though every fucking person in this series needs years of training, but Rey gets a pass. Rey is just the best. Deal with it.
Use the Force. Concentrate!
Kylo Ren is literally the biggest pussy I've ever seen on screen. I refuse to call this man a villain. He got whooped in both movies and has done nothing but bitch and moan the entire time. And don't fucking get me started on Snoke. But none of this compares to how badly you have fucked Luke Skywalker. So many missed opportunities, so much potential for great storytelling, a perfect setup to pass on the torch. Give some respect to the old characters and set up the new ones. Give us a reason to follow them going forward. Make us actually give a fuck. Instead, you decide to burn down the entire franchise and everything in it. You have one last chance in episode 9. Give some respect to Luke, a character that means so much to millions, just clearly not you. Explain the 30-year gap between the trilogies. Help us understand why the man who saved the galaxy, the man who's the living embodiment of hope and optimism, could somehow threaten to kill his nephew and abandon his family and friends. You have one more chance to fix this. Please take Luke and make...
No, he's dead. Literally killed because of the strain of performing the task of projection. Ryan butchered his character and then has prevented him from being able to now fix it in any way, shape, or form. Luke's handling in this film is honestly a horror story for so many fans, and this finish is why. He cannot redeem himself anymore. He fades away into the Force while staring at the binary sunset, which reminds me of so many elements in this film. Gorgeous, creative, doesn't make any sense.
He was too fucking lazy to get off the island. He stayed on that fucking island like a hobo, and just like a regular hobo dying. Like, whenever a hobo dies, like, what happens? Is it in the news? Are they in the street? No, they just hobos in real life. Hobos, when they die, they just turn into dust. They just fade off into the wind. They go with God. That's what happened with Luke. Luke was a hobo.
First draft of The Last Jedi was written before The Force Awakens, so it had nothing to do with fan reaction. Holy God.
Johnson told Entertainment that he had to find a way to kill Luke off in the movie no matter what, just because he saw Luke's presence in the sequel trilogy standing in the way of the new characters.
I almost had to think of Luke as another character. Maybe he's Jake Skywalker. He's not my Luke Skywalker, but I had to do what Ryan wanted me to do because it serves the story well. But listen, I still haven't accepted it completely. I read the first script and I said, we don't have any scene, even a brief reunion at all. When I read 7, I thought, I'm never going to work with Harrison again. And then the real life tragedy of losing Carrie. That was like, well, you know, we'll never get the band back together again. That's life. You have to accept that. But I don't think I've fully recovered from that. But you just have to put in perspective and move on. It's really about the new characters, and we're just there. They've got the keys to the kingdom. We're just got visitors' passes. Okay. He was my seeing eye dog. So if I've succeeded in any way, it's all because of Ryan. And also, if I fail, it's also because of Ryan.
Thank you, Mark. Daisy.
See, a Jedi never takes responsibility.
If it doesn't make you want to go out of the theater, get your spaceship toys and run around the backyard, it's not a Star Wars movie.
You did it. You actually did it. You fucked it. You fucked the fucking movie. And oh, you had the social justice warriors. You had the purple-haired bitch. You had the black man, the white woman hugging it out. You had the Asians. And you had the Asians. Oh, you fucked it. You fucked the movie good.
This movie is like 12 people wrote scripts, they put them all in a blender, and only kept the shitty parts.
This movie took everything that you like about Star Wars, that you love about Star Wars, that you thought you knew about Star Wars, and it on it. And on it again, and then it sets it on fire, and then it on it again.
You have Luke commit suicide at the end of your piece of fucking shit.
Which is dumb as shit,
If you're gonna kill him anyway, if he's gonna die anyway, have him die in battle.
Disney didn't kill Luke, they just shit on his character.
This movie is trash, bruh. This is a whack, trash, garbage movie, and I can't believe what Disney did to me. JJ built some characters up. He built Poe, he built Rey, and he built Finn and Kylo. And guess what they did?
This was the worst Star Wars movie I have ever seen.
This whole movie was why the fuck.
What a fucking bomb. What a disappointment. Couldn't believe my fucking eyes.
When Luke Skywalker died, fucking evaporated. Like my fucking fart. Fucking just another fart in the wind. That's what Luke Skywalker, his fucking legacy.
Can't do this anymore. This movie physically made me sad. It ruined the Luke character. Cause his death, I didn't fucking give a shit.
Stupid fucking scene after stupid fucking scene.
If you write a script that is so flawed, that is so disrespectful, that it might as well be a giant dick slap in the face.
It's a joke. It's a fucking plot hole written joke.
It was terrible storytelling. Nothing happens. There's no character development.
You learn nothing. Nothing gets moved forward. People are dying left and right, and it just doesn't matter.
It was too fucking jokey. There was fucking never a point where anything was taken seriously.
They just try to like push the jokes on anyone and everywhere, and I don't get it. Why?
I don't understand why they went so far out of their way to push out their base of fans.
They gave the movie to some guy and said, make a movie and just do whatever the fuck you want.
I honestly feel like I could have wrote a better fucking movie. Like, what the fuck was that?
I feel very, very embarrassed for the human condition. This is very, very poor. And this is not, I mean, art is supposed to elevate the human condition. Movies are supposed to, elevate this human spirit and not, this is just garbage. Stay away from it. This is a social justice shitfest. There's no story. The story does not progress.
Nobody wants any of this. What we want is a solid Star Wars storyline, and Rian Johnson, you done fucked it up. Big time.
What makes Rian such an amazing writer and director?
He's very
Awkward.
quick.
No, skip it. Skip it.
Very
No.
quick. I like that he's really fast.
No one else? Okay. That would do.
Looking back, was there any of the criticisms that you read that you may feel is now kind of fair?
No. But
I'm happy to ruin people's childhood.
The thing is, though, especially with a Star Wars movie, having grown up as a Star Wars fan,
Rian is so capable, such a really wonderful person, such a good writer, such a good director.
I write sporadically and badly with no rhyme or reason whatsoever. I don't think I could ever actually write for a living, write for hire, because I take so long to write, and I just it's bad, man. It's no.
But that's kind of the way I write, because I'm kind of a fundamentally lazy writer. Yeah, steal from the best, right? That's the way I put it. Yeah.
Kill him. I want every gun we have to fire on that man. Do it.
Do it!
On my command! Fire!
I would be worried if everybody across the board was like, yeah, that was a good movie. It's much more exciting to me when you get, a group of people who are coming up to you and really, really excited about it, and it's going to be something that they're having their DVD collection and watch over, and then there are other people who walk out just, literally saying that was the worst movie I've ever seen. Having those two extremes to me is, is the mark of the type of movie that I want to make. So.
And there you have it, folks. Do you now understand? This is no longer about Star Wars. This is no longer even about Luke. This is about a man named Rian Johnson who is out of his fucking mind. This is about a company named Disney that has no respect for the fans. It's people like you that are ruining the movie industry, Ryan. People like you with no talent and no self-awareness whatsoever. To think you actually got paid for this garbage. To take a franchise and characters loved by millions and to destroy them and morph it into your twisted Star Wars fantasy. What made you think this would work, Ryan? Why did you ignore all the people who warned you? Were you dropped on your head, Ryan? Do you have a legit excuse for this level of incompetence? Do you understand what you have done? You have ruined the future profitability of the most profitable franchise of all time, and you did it on purpose. You blocked out all criticism and wasted millions of dollars to bring your vision to life, and you made a childish, ridiculous movie that makes no sense. Did you honestly think the gorgeous visuals would be enough to disguise the fact that nothing is happening, no characters are being developed, no story is being told? You mocked the entire fan base for theorizing plots and twists for a movie you were making. You took all the things you knew the fans wanted to see resolved and did absolutely nothing with them and demanded we praise your idiot brain because you subverted our expectations. This is now your legacy, Ryan. The man who destroyed Star Wars. Stay the fuck away from any pen or keyboard and live out the rest of your days as far away from the movie industry as possible. Fuck you.